let me clue you in on something. Whilst other candidates were busy trying to buy delegates, Tinubu was buying godfathers in the APC primaries, was buying governors, the fathers of the delegates. Those were the persons Tinubu was buying. Don't imagine that Tinubu is buying sitting governors. He's not. He is buying their godfathers, the persons who kept them there. And the ones he can't buy, he's intimidating into aligning. So what you're saying are the alignments of the politicians, whether forced or voluntary, whether based on real politics or whatever. A Tinubu that will not lose an election, quote and unquote, whilst out of office, running almost against the incumbent, is now in power. There's a difference between being in office and being in power. He is now in power. And the Atikus of this world are busy thinking that they can contest against him. Illusions. The people are the ones who need to be aligning. Without an alignment of the people, what you would have is that the election result will be announced ahead of time, and you can be certain that the judiciary will endorse it. Akpabio is sat in the Senate as the Senate president today because your constitution, pardon my French, is crap. Your judiciary, unfit for purpose. That is the only reason he sat there. Ditto for your president. So if you're waiting for an election to save Nigeria, you've lost already. Let me just announce that. The only thing that can save us is a revolution. If you sustain the current system, Nigeria will erupt in a civil war. It's already in one. The only problem is that the lines are not defined. But if it continues on its current trajectory.
Barrister, you had everything. That was Dele Farotimi. You had everything he said.
Exactly.
Yes. You see, I brought this again because this is what we have been on this platform. We've been singing. We'll be singing what he just said exactly. So we've been saying it on this platform for about almost 2 years now. But this is what I've been advocating for almost 2 decades now. I've been talking about since the inception case, not almost 2 decades. Yes, almost 2 decades. Since after Obasanjo or whatever, it came after Obasanjo, because Obasanjo time, there was a kind of a reprieve. We had a kind of sense of a kind of relative hope. But even then, like I said, I've always said, I never believed in democracy. Even when Obasanjo came, when they ousted, what's his name, Abacha, there was a kind of, okay, we needed a kind of change, but I wasn't expecting the change of a democratic change. I didn't expect that because I've never advocated for it. But this issue of revolution, I have been advocating for this for a very, very long time. And I remember when I started doing this, saying this, I used to have some friends and who are politicians who always consider me to be crazy. And I think you and I have always, we discussed this even in your office in the past, and I mentioned this. I think so. I can't remember, but I think you and I have talked about it, and you actually you were against this revolution of a thing. That's not the way. I don't know. I can't remember vivid, but I've had this back and forth with several people with the issue of this revolution. This is Dele Farotimi saying it. This is a lawyer just like you, even though right now you actually believe in the revolution as well. He's a lawyer. He's a human rights, for God's sake. This is a human rights activist. He's not just a lawyer, a human rights activist. He himself is now supporting revolution. That's to tell you how frustrated Nigerians are. That's to tell you that our situation has become hopeless, even to the extent that even people who civil society, civil rights personalities are even calling for revolution. Barrister, isn't this what we have been talking about on this platform?
Exactly. We have talked about it. You have talked about it. We have talked repeatedly about it. As a matter of fact, you cannot fault Dele Farotimi on anything he said. He is 100% correct. And if some of us in the past have been cautious about the path for the country, it was because we wanted to see if the political class have learned any lesson from the past. Remember, in the First Republic, things will start well and then they will gravitate the political class, once they get the power, they will gravitate to the bad side, and the country will continue to go down the drain. That is what aborted the First Republic. That is what aborted the Second Republic. That is what aborted the Third Republic. Now, we thought, most of us, with our normal caution, we thought this time around, maybe, just maybe, things will go in the right direction. And when Obasanjo came after a long time of military rule, things were not this bad. But in the way that the country always works when the politicians take power, it goes from A to the other side, not A, B, C. It doesn't go in the right direction.
Yes.
It starts in the center and goes in the negative direction, and continues to go down in that way. So you see Obasanjo starting, there was perhaps some hope. We could see even some dictatorial tendencies with him, but it's okay. After a very long period of military rule, these things were to be expected. What happened from there, we see things go from bad to worse. And now we're at a crossroad where even some of us that are very conservative in nature have come to realize that this system can never deliver for Nigeria. And we look and see that what system, unless there is a coming together of the people, just like Dele Farotimi, it is not a realignment of politicians, it's a realignment of Nigerians that we work, that we come together and take over the country. That is the only thing, and that is called a revolution anywhere that happens. So we have, even if you call us late believers, we agree we are late believers in the revolution because we have seen from repeated failures, we have seen there's no will, there's no basis to go in the right direction. And only a revolution will save this country from total and imminent collapse. It's not just that the country will collapse, it will collapse with unprecedented bloodshed. That is even the fear. With or without a revolution, this country will collapse with unprecedented bloodshed that will not abate quickly. It will even be a problem for the whole world, not just the sub-Saharan African sub-region. It will be a problem for the whole world. So it is better to have a revolution and put Nigeria in a stable position, in a positive way, on the right path, than continue with this charade that we are and that we are doing in the name of democracy.
Honestly, that's the right word, charade. Honestly, really charade. It's a sham. That's what we call democracy today. To Farotimi's point, like we said, we've been hammering on this. He made that point. The point we'll be making on this platform, that if Bola Tinubu was able to achieve what he did, the rigging, the buying of the system, pay the system to bulldoze himself, force himself on us, even whilst under outside power, how much more can he do that now that he is the commander-in-chief of every national institution, and technically every state institution as well? Because of course we know he's now coercing and coercing governors to actually blackmailing them to fall in line with his selfish interest. So that is just the reality. It's so sad.
It's even laughable for anybody to seriously think that you will challenge Tinubu in 2020. The signs are there. The handwriting is on the wall. We are here seeing what he's doing, how he's moving. It's laughable for somebody to say they will mount any serious challenge to Tinubu in 2027. Honestly, I don't see anything like that happening.
You are absolutely right, and that is just the reality. So let's not look for one excuse or the other. Honestly, in my own judgment, I think 2023 was the most fruitful time, most potent time, or rather, let me not use that, most potent moment for us to have we were supposed to cash in on that, but we missed that opportunity. And Obi, I expected Obi. This is my honestly, this is Obi. I loved him. I believed in his leadership, political leadership. I believed in his principles, sort of. But today, since after that election, I just lost. Because of the way he's fighting it is going the wrong way. He seemed to be fighting it as someone who is not actually, who just probably is still living in the 60s or 70s or 80s. Someone who is not, he's not fighting it as someone who is fighting the system of today. A sort of, so he's just still he fights it as if he's still sleeping. A sort of, this is not, you can't fight for power today as it was fought for in the past, for some 2-3 decades ago. No, this is an era that has become so dogged, so depraved, that the only way you can actually succeed in fighting, in wresting power from the powers that be, is to do it their own way. Do it their own way, and that just, you have to be dogged, you have to be radical, you have to be courageous, you have to be strong, you have to be fearless, sort of, to be able to do this. Not this issue of going attending one seminar and the other and be preaching. We'll talk about that, because I'm so tired of Peter Obi always bringing up statistics and data, statistical data to buttress it. I don't get it. Anyway, Barrister, I think let's move to the next topic, because Nigeria and Nigerians are just, they don't get it, honestly. I'm so pained that 2023 was the most potent time for us to have cashed in that whatever.
Let me chip in that my support for Peter Obi was relative in terms of comparison to who he was against,
yes,
who he faced. As between him, Tinubu, and Atiku, I will always prefer him.
Absolutely.
But that is not to say he is the right person for Nigeria at the moment. As of today, we need somebody more than Peter Obi.
Yeah.
We know he has
characteristics
to rule, but what is needed today is equivalent to a bulldozer.
Yeah.
And he is not, let me just use that language. He is not that bulldozer. It's a calm, sweet voice. That is not needed to move Nigeria forward. In the context of what we are talking about, revolution, leading the alignment of the Nigerian people, he is not fit for that.
I absolutely agree with you. That is just the reality. Yes, we have said it all. And yes, based on people that are contesting or that contested then, and even up to now, say people that we are seeing in the public domain that intend to contest, he's still the blind man, the king, the man with the one eye in the midst of blind men, sort of. So he's still the best out of them. But just like you noted, you are correct that he is not actually. In reality, we need someone that is, just like I said, he is too soft for this moment. He is too soft. He's too gentle. He's too formal for this moment in our country. Honestly, we need a bulldozer, just like you said. In fact, a D12, not just D8, not D4, D12 bulldozer, for someone who will come and actually a kind of revamp, overhaul the entire system, shake the system to its core. That is just the reality. Let's